6 states to reach 50% vaccination rate by end of September. Man arrested for brutal rape and murder. Good evening, welcome to News at 10 with me, Brendan Lepol. 6 states, namely Terengganu, Perak, Johor, Kelantan, Kedah and Sabah, must reach 50% vaccination rate by the end of September. For this purpose, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said extra focus will be given to these states to ensure that no issues in the form of vaccine supply shortage arises.
Dan saya dah berbincang dengan KSU bahawa jika ada vaksin yang kita order ada masalah dari segi penghantaran, tak perlu tunggu lagi pada vaksin tersebut, tapi kita beralih kepada vaksin yang sudah pun sedia ada. Sebagai contoh, di negara kita ini para maniaga membuat pembotolan untuk vaksin Sinovac. Dan mereka sentiasa standby dengan vaksin di kilang mereka.
He said this at a media conference after witnessing the administering of the 1 millionth dose of COVID-19 vaccine at the World Trade Center Kuala Lumpur PPV today. As of yesterday, Perak recorded a 46.5% vaccination rate, followed by Terengganu at 46.2%, Johor 44.9%, Kedah 43.2%, Kelantan 43.1%, and Sabah 37.1%. In a related development, Datuk Seri Ismail said the government will hold a meeting to discuss the shifting of areas in Klang Valley that has achieved 89.5% vaccination rate into the next phase of the National Recovery Plan (NRP). Aside from Klang Valley, the government will also consider the necessity of other states to progress into subsequent phases of the National Recovery Plan based on their respective rates of vaccination. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri further emphasised that rural areas also require immediate vaccine distribution. To date, over 200,000 doses of the Cansino vaccine have been delivered to rural areas in Sabah.
Kita tidak mahu menyusahkan penduduk di kawasan pedalaman yang terpaksa untuk mendapatkan second dose, maka mereka perlu keluar lagi. Jadi kita beri 1 dos yang bersamaan dengan 2 dos untuk vaksin lain. Jadi sekali saja. Bukan saja Cansino, tapi kita akan hantar juga Sinovac dan sebagainya supaya di kawasan-kawasan bandar boleh gunakan Sinovac, di kawasan pedalaman gunakan Cansino.
Commenting on other possible approaches to reduce the number of new COVID-19 infections, the Premier said the government views seriously several factors, such as areas with low infectivity but have a high risk level due to cross-border travel to and from neighbouring states. The Public Service Department (JPA) will assist to expedite the inoculation of civil servants who have registered for vaccination program. Its Director General Tan Sri Muhammad Khairul Adib Abdul Rahman said JPA will submit the names of those who have yet to register via My Sejahtera app to the respective department heads to determine the reasons for further action.
Kita minta Kementerian Sains dan Kementerian Kesihatan untuk segerakan sebab kita nak buka. Kalau sebelum ekonomi itu kita buka, perkhidmatan kerajaan kena buka dulu. Jadi kita dah minta untuk disegerakan dan kita dah menggerakkan lebih kurang bawa ke depan dia punya jadual suntikan dia lebih kurang hampir 30,000 penjawab. Jadi tadi yang itulah yang dah daftar tapi belum ada temu janji. Yang itu yang kita fokuskan.
As of 19 August, 74% of civil servants in the country had completed their COVID-19 vaccination, while 17.8% had received 1 dose. Meanwhile, 3.2% of them had registered and received their vaccination appointments. 2.8% has registered but did not receive their appointments. And 2.2% of them have not yet registered. For the COVID updates, the number of new COVID-19 cases in the country dipped today to 20,579, fewer than the 22,597 reported yesterday. However, today's numbers have pushed the national case tally past the 1.7 million mark, with infectivity rate of 1.01. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah in a statement reported that Selangor remains the state with the most cases, with 4,591 new infections today. Outside of that, the viral disease is climbing in Borneo, Malaysia, as Sabah has 2,578 new cases and Sarawak 2,522 new cases, taking second and third spots respectively. Only 2.2% of the new cases reported today were listed in categories 3, 4 and 5, and about 76.1% of the new infections have no history of receiving vaccine or have completed their immunization. Other than that, 20,845 new recoveries were reported, leaving the number of active cases to 267,997. Of that, 1,009 cases are currently being treated in the ICU, with 477 of them requiring ventilator support. Meanwhile, the death toll rose over the 6,000 mark after 285 new fatalities reported today. Of that, 51 cases were classified as brought-in dead. Active COVID-19 classes in the country stand at 1,470 after 26 new ones emerged nationwide. Now, a woman in Pulau Pinang was raped and sodomized before murdered in her home at Taman Seruling Emas, Sungai Jawi in Pulau Pinang yesterday. The body of the 40-year-old victim was found on the lower floor of the house. According to Seberang Perai Selatan Police Chief Superintendent Lee Chong Chen, they received a call at 7:20 p.m. informing of the discovery of the body of a woman in her 40s hidden underneath a bed in a two-story terrace house. Following the incident, police arrested a 29-year-old suspect with 5 past criminal records in Changkat, Sungai Jawi, not far from the scene of the crime at about 9 p.m. Lee explained that a woman who was a friend of the victim had seen a man she does not know leaving the house on a motorcycle when she came to visit. She then became suspicious and had contacted the victim's sister to inform her of the matter, who then called a friend and asked him to check the house. The man then contacted the police before going inside and found it to be in a mess. The body had been sent to Seberang Jaya Hospital for a post-mortem examination, and the case is being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code. Police are seeking the assistance of their counterparts in international security forces to ascertain if there is truth to reports that 2 Malaysian Daesh fighters were held by the Taliban following an armed attack at Kabul airport in Afghanistan. Inspector General of Police Datuk Seri Akril Sani Abdullah Sani said police are aware of the news reports but are yet to receive further information on the detention of the Malaysians in Afghanistan. On Thursday, the terror group launched attacks on its rival Taliban outside Kabul airport. It was reported that in the assault, suicide bombers caused at least a dozen deaths. That included US soldiers guarding the airport. Coming up next, keluarga Malaysia's spirit not dampened by COVID-19. Stay with us.
Menang bersama Faizal Tahir.
The National Day celebration is set to be held in Putrajaya with the spirit of keluarga Malaysia. Tan Sri Anwar Musa, who was named as Communications and Multimedia Minister in the new cabinet lineup, said the strict SOP enforced during the celebration rehearsal does not dampen the spirit of all Malaysians.
Saya berasa berpuas hati dengan segala persiapan yang telah dapat saya saksikan tadi. Terutama sekali dari segi susunan perjalanan sambutan Hari Kemerdekaan yang berbeza dengan tahun lalu.
Elaborating further, he said the National Day celebration will be held starting from 8 a.m. until 8:50 a.m. on 31st August, consists of 4 shows involving various agencies. Tan Sri Anwar also took the time to be involved with drafting the lyrics of the Keluarga Malaysia theme song. The song will be performed for the first time during the National Day by Ara Johari, Masha Mashita, Putra Muhammad and Sufi Rashid. Meanwhile, Communications and Multimedia Ministry Secretary General Datuk Sri Muhammad Mentek said the audience watching the celebration at home will be mesmerized, especially with the use of mixed reality technology. Datuk Sri Muhammad, who is also the 2021 National Day Celebration Committee Chairman, explained that physical production, augmented reality as well as extended reality technologies will be used to portray the real situation.
Untuk tahun ini, seperti yang saya nyatakan sebelum ini, oleh sebab kita masih berhadapan dengan pandemik COVID-19, jadi sudah tentu kita menggunakan SOP yang begitu ketat. Sebab tahun lepas kita adakan dalam bangunan dan tahun ini kita adakan di luar bangunan, iaitu di dataran Pahlawan di Putrajaya.
The 2021 National Day celebration will be broadcast live on RTM TV channel and Merdeka 360 Facebook, live streaming starting from 7:30 a.m. The Malaysians should instill the spirit of patriotism in them to ensure the country continues to enjoy its independence, because it will be lost if the country is divided. Police Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Azlan Man said this as he explained that independence was achieved with the sacrifices of past leaders, which serves as foundation for strong unity that remains until today.
Itu yang saya maksudkan, mesti ada perpaduan keharmonian itu, dan kerana itu jangan ada isu-isu yang boleh menyebabkan berlaku perpecahan, sama ada dari segi perkaumannya, dari segi agamanya ataupun perpecahan-perpecahan yang lain.
Speaking of the delivering food baskets in Indra Kayangan constituent, Datuk Sri Azlan said Malaysians must instill in them the spirit of patriotism to ensure the people can continue to live in harmony and for the country to move forward. He also said this year's National Day celebration will be held virtually, and he hoped the spirit of independence would not fade, even though there are no major celebrations or gatherings because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Finance Ministry will announce a pre-budget statement soon to draft criteria for national expenditure as preparations for the tabling of Budget 2022 in October. Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, who will be taking helm at the ministry again, said the MOF will invite various quarters to provide their inputs on the matter. Explaining further, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul said the ministry will also include members of the opposition and industry players to the discussion. He said this is part of the effort to increase transparency and involved of different sides in policy making.
Saya akan umumkan dalam masa terdekat. Ini adalah kali pertama di mana Kementerian Kewangan akan mengumumkan our pre-budget statement, ya, di mana kita akan menjemput secara rasmi semua pihak untuk memberi input masing-masing, dan di sini kita ada merangkakan beberapa area lah. Salah satunya ialah kebajikan.
Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Bersatu expressed their heartfelt condolences and sadness on the passing of Datuk Sri Lajim Ukin earlier this morning. Bersatu Secretary General Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin in a media statement described the passing as a major loss to the country and Bersatu, especially among the Supreme Council members and Sabah state governing body. Datuk Sri Lajim passed away at 66 years old due to COVID-19. He was a member of the Bersatu Supreme Council as well as a former Deputy Chief Minister of Sabah, who was well revered for his high dedication and vast experiences throughout his administration of the federal and state governments. In addition to having served as Federal Deputy Minister in the Transport and Housing and Local Government portfolios, he was also the Chairman of Amanah Iktihar Malaysia, as well as former Beaufort Member of Parliament and Klias Assemblyman.
There have been many cases of internet fraud, including the propagation of fake news, identity thefts, as well as offering of services that do not exist. The nature of social media, which allows for fast dissemination of information, as well as easily making false identities, has triggered widespread issues. Be a responsible social media user and report major misconducts on the internet. Remember to be cautious regarding the authenticity of any news article on the internet before you share them. To avoid falling victim to such schemes, be sure to obtain information only from trusted sources. When in doubt, do not share. Together, we can stop fake news.
Wrapping up news at 10, in our top story, government to shift focus to 6 states, ramping up the vaccination rate. Catch up with the latest news and developments on updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon on saluran Berita RTM and TV2. Or you can also stream the news online on RTM's Click website and mobile app. Till then, I'm Brendan Paul. Good night.